Well, that's a mess. All right, keys in. Focus. And she's dead. So we're continuing on with the electronics. I really wanted to incorporate this part in the last video, but the dash cam video just took too long. I'm sitting here looking at this pile that's my garage. So let me show you what we're doing. So we get in here. I actually found that these wires, this style box was what all this was plugged up to. So I'm very grateful for that. So this will be all the direct plug and play. What I'm kind of curious about is I got to figure out what color all these wires were once they got to inside the car, because if I can use the original harness I will, but if not, I'll just have to run some new power wires. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just plug all of this in, run a power wire to it, and see if everything actually does work. Because if it does work through some direct power, I can go from there. So I can actually run one of these single wires to the front for on and off. So that'll work. So the first thing I need to do is shorten these wires. Right, this ought to be good. I'm well aware it's not the preferred method, but that'll do, pig. That'll do. If y'all remember when we bought this car, there's still an entire wiring harness hiding out under here. So let me see if I can dig it out, or what's left of it out. And, oh, that should be easy. If this works out, I'll have run this other wire for nothing. But, hey, if it doesn't, at least I'll have run the other wire. Okay, so we got our multimeter out, and I'm going to start checking these back here to find out which ones are live, because I know there's a live one back here because it shocks me from time to time. So I've got it grounded. I'm going to find a red one and just start touching things. So we did get started, but not quite the way I was hoping. Figure out which wire here goes to the wigwags. I've got to do some grounding. I keep getting shocked every time I get in and out of the car, but can't really see it. So, yeah. So now that I've got that figured out, now I need to figure out the back. I think it has to do something with this second ground. Let me show you. I believe this is the wire that goes back. See this one or this one. But there's also this ground wire here, so I'm going to hook this up along with this one, and then we'll see if we can't get these things to dance. So we got this figured out, kind of. I don't know if you can see it. That's flashing. And we got the rears going. It's kind of hard on video to see it, but for some reason they're not all going. Well, we got it figured out. So let me show you what I did. Using our multimeter here, I discovered that this wire and this wire, which are both hooked into this, are only active when the key switch is on, which is good. So if I turn the car off, it won't accidentally stay on. So this is powered down right now. So these are for the back, and these are for the front. Now this thing had strobe lights in the grill. Those have been taken out. Now, despite the fact that this is hooked up to switch power, I need a way to turn it off on the inside. That's where that other power wire is going to come in. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to mount that box, and then we're going to basically use one of those wires, one of these wires going into the cab. We're going to mount it here, and then we'll mount it to the other side here and put a switch into it. For some reason I can't figure out where the dang wire is for the inside, but it's all grounded here, so This is the path of least resistance, but let me do a little more looking, and then I'll let you know what I come across. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is where it gets dicey. What you're gonna need is a little liquor and a whole lot of patience, because, well, let me show you what I'm dealing with. The whole wiring harness from the back comes up through here, and it's in this rat's nest. These are just a bunch of trigger wires going to the controller, but I need to find the actual wire. Let me show you. On the back here, this wire right here comes in the top of the fuse block, but out of the bottom is this wire right here. It's a white with a red stripe. Unfortunately, there's a number of white with red stripes. I think these are power wires from the switch. Now, I need to figure out this wire, because this is a trigger wire. It comes out of the fuse block, but this goes somewhere. It goes into here, and it goes through here, and I'm kind of at a loss here, so I got to dig a little more into it. So I got an idea what I think I'm just going to end up doing. It'll make things easier in the long run. I know what controls the wigwags. I can run that from inside the car. But I've already run the wire between the seats out the back. So I think I'm just going to run a wire out there and just create a loop. Just a break, so I can put a switch in between just the switched power and the strobe box. That way when I turn the car off, it all goes off. That's kind of what I want. So I'm going to go mount this box, and then we're going to run these wires, and then I'll have to figure out my switch box. Okay, so about 30 minutes later, we've got it mounted in, kind of. I'll show you. And we got all the wires tied up, so let's show you what we're going to do next. Got this mounted in the back. I'm going to need to drill some holes, but I won't do that right now. I've got all of the stuff that I can tie up tied up. This is the one wire I'm going to use. I'm actually going to trim this one back, and it goes into the fuse block, which is nice. So what I'm going to do on this end, when I hook all of this stuff together, is the switch is going to basically just clip in on this side and then go straight into the power, and then we'll just have to go from there. Likewise, all this stuff up here is going to get tied back up and then tucked back under the mat again. There's no point. I'll run a separate wire from the wigwags out, but other than that, that'll be the only wire that comes off that. Okay, so we got it kind of trial run back here. We got the power hooked up. We got it hooked up to the two white ones here. So if my calculations are correct, I'll go up here, touch the two white ones together up front here. Once we turn the key on, and strobe should come on. So I've got them down here, so let me turn this on, and I'll see if the strobes come on first. Okay, the strobes are not on. So let's touch the wires together and see what happens here. I can do this without electrocuting myself. All right, and they are on. So, well, I don't know if you can see this. No, kind of. So now we'll turn the key off. It's still hooked up. Let's turn the key off, and yep, strobes are off. So let's go get our switch box. Now I have two switch boxes. One is a Federal. it's real straightforward. I kind of want to use this one because I'm only powering 2 things. But I've also got this one here, and it's pretty heavy duty. This was probably in a tow truck or something like that. So I'm not too sure which one I'm going to use yet. So what I need to do is hook them up, get power, see how they operate, and then just start plugging things in to see if it actually works. So we'll start with the Federal box first. The reason I want that is because I can actually Velcro that to the top of the CB radio. And that'll make things a whole lot easier. But let's get this going and we'll see how this works. So I think this was off a state truck. So it's off. We do that. Left. Both sides. Right. Turn it all the way off and hit the warn, and it does that. So this didn't work. It just is not going to do what I needed to do. It's basically a light bar only kind of thing. So we went ahead and hooked the other one up, and it's a rat's nest down here, but everything works. So let me show you what we did. We have it all hooked up. I just haven't tied the wires up yet, so it's a little bit of a mess. So let me show you. Yes, it's a mess. So down here, this is a 3. I just zip tied this in for now along the side. I got 3 plug-ins. This goes to the dash cam. This goes to the signal box here, and this goes to the CB radio. I've got to trim all this up. What I'm going to end up doing, this is way longer than it needs to be, but I'm going to tie up all these wires, and they're all going to get tucked in behind here, and then of course that's all got to get cleaned out. But that's a little bit of a mess right now, so let's go show you what's going on in the trunk. So truth be known, I actually only needed this one wire here. And the reason is because the power comes from the signal box. If I was going to just put a regular switch on it, it would have been different. So these are all going to get tucked back here. I'm going to move this in, and I'm probably going to see this right here. I'm probably going to go ahead and just zip tie these wires in here. That way it keeps them from moving. So when I shove this in, it'll all work. So let's do that. So we zip tied this down here. It's still a little loose, but I'm going to run through here, and I'm just going to wrap all this up in electrical tape to clean this up. And there it is. So let's push this back up in here. Make sure all of this stuff sets up properly. Doesn't get all tangled up. Push this tray back into its spot. And that's a rat's nest back there. So let's see if it still works. Alright, so these all work, and you really can't see it, but those are wig-wagging and flashing. So let me go in here. I'm going to clean up all the extraneous stuff and get it out of the way, and then that way everything's clean when I start tucking the wires in. It's just easier that way. So give me a few minutes, and we'll get back to the tucking the wires in. Well, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not crazy about this setup. It's all cleaned up and all the wires are in and everything actually works. It's just, I'm not really liking all of this. And luckily it's all on the passenger side, so I'm not going to get caught in it over there. But aside from that, you know, it's not bad. I might end up redoing this and maybe putting some Velcro under it. You know, the reason I did it this way was because all this is going to come back out most likely after power tour. I'm just having fun. And for all of you wondering if the upfitter's guide actually helped, not at all. So I used a little of the Ford upfitters wiring harness for the wigwags and all that. It just, there was so much going on with the other stuff that I decided that I would go ahead and just run my own wires, which I really didn't want to do, but that's just what happened. So once again, it's late. Car's about done. I got a couple more things to button up, just little things here and there. But let me give you a rough overview of what I did, and then we'll get to see it work. Hopefully the camera works. And hopefully the cops don't drive by and see it, because I'm sure they'll stop and ask many questions. So let me show you how it all worked out, and we'll get to it. So starting here in the trunk, everything's pretty much buttoned up. I might run some zip ties over this and secure that a little better, and I need to do something with this, but that's all done. I'm gonna clean up back here, and I'll probably throw another tire in, but that's a story for another day. But here it is right here on the inside. So now let me go on the inside of the car real quick and show you that. One of the things I forgot to explain was the hookups here. So I got kind of lucky. Everything here is fused. These are all fused, and believe it or not, these are for a CB radio. They're for just regular, not a Cobra, but an old just dual prong, and I got them for $5.99 a piece, fused up and ready to go. And this is something I had from my last truck. There's the dash cam hookup, but yeah, so everything is fused to include this that this is plugged into. So there's fuses for this, fuses for this. This has its own fuse, and all the hookups here have their own fuse. It was important when you're dealing with electrical stuff to be safe. So yeah, safety third, maybe so, but you really don't want a fire. And as soon as I shut the thing down tonight, all this is getting unplugged. I'm going to pull the main thing and it'll shut everything down. So let's check out the lights. Now I got the tag light fixed. It was all out and all that, so I ended up taking all the pieces out of that deck lid over there. I'm going to try to get all the dents out of that eventually, but for now it sacrificed its parts, so this thing would be, yeah, so I didn't have to go back to town, really. Now I did mess something up for some reason. There's no illumination on here, but I'm not really worried about that. So hit the left alley here. Whoops, that's not it. Hit the right alley, and they start working. So that's kind of cool. Yep. Turn the headlights off and let them actually. Sweet. So now we'll hit the left alley here. Yep. Got those, and you can kind of see them better at night, but hey, got the backs. We got the fronts. Now, contrary to popular belief, there was a whole lot more thought put into how to hook these lights up than you would think. I really wanted to use the factory wiring harness that's in there and just hook up to a couple of lines. But the way it was wound, you really just needed their stuff, because I needed to know what kind of box was hooked in, and everything was done prior to that. Like I said, I did figure out which one was the wigwags, but as for the lights, you know, you have a trigger wires, you have switch wires, and I didn't know where exactly they were getting their power from when you power those. I decided to get the power from the switch box rather than the wigwag, or rather than the thing in the back. But I made sure I taped up all of those wires because there's a lot of live wires in there. So if you ever buy a used police car with a wiring harness still in it, be very careful. You'll electrocute something. So what's next for the car? Well, not a whole lot really. We need to outfit it with all the stuff that we're going to take, and the mechanics are all pretty much done. I decided not to change the brakes on it. I got looking at them again, and they're at about 80%. I'm not going to screw with 80%. When I get back, yeah, I'll go ahead and change them when I get back, because, you know, I'll have put 2,500 miles on them, and that's when you change them. But before I leave, I'm going to change the oil, and like I said, probably get another spare tire, at least one, and then put together a toolkit and whatnot. Just regular preventative maintenance to go. But aside from that, if I was to leave tomorrow with the car, it'd be all right. I'm not too happy with the way the wiring came out, but it's a whole lot better than it could be. So that being said, probably the next video you see on this is going to be me packing up to leave for Power Tour. It's in about a month, and from this recording, but as you know, I have a day job, so I have to do these things when I can. So I took it out tonight, shook it out, drove it up to Newton, Kansas, and back down to my house. So I probably put maybe 120 miles on it. Didn't miss a beat. So I'm pleased. So anyhow, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've liked this stuff. And if we got any more content on this, pretty sure I'll figure something out. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And I look forward to seeing you next video.